to the roof. The reason foundation is important is because it becomes a reference point for when things don't go to plan. You know, you set your goal and you jump on that journey, and suddenly you go through financial distractions, you go through a bad breakup. Life throws its adversities to you. COVID comes up. And you find it difficult to jump back on track. This is why foundation is important. When you start to build your house, when the storm comes, you only have to look at the foundation to know where you're building, rather than thinking you have to start all over again and be overwhelmed. The second chapter is self-worth versus net worth. Self-worth, how you uphold yourself, how you dress, how you walk, how you talk, your health, your diet, what you read, what you consume, your self-worth. Why do you commit to all these things? What value do they add to you? Versus net worth. Now, we're not talking finances. Your net worth is how much value you bring to wherever you come to. Now, in this room, we've got students, teachers, special guests. Your net worth is dependent on what else you bring. For example, in the front row here, we've got the music group, as well as students. So when they go out into the world, they've got much more to offer than just being what they become after they graduate. They're also a musician. What else do you have within you? And we've all got it. We've all got a bit of magic within us, but unfortunately, sometimes our environments don't support that. They don't inspire that to bring it out. So we stick to what we simply know and conform to. That's net worth. It's got nothing to do with finances. It's got everything to do with your value. What else can you bring to the table? Believe me when I tell you this, especially after today's presentation, I hope that you're very convinced. The last chapter we're covering is conversation. This is my most favorite topic and the most important element, I believe, is conversation. What are you saying about yourself to yourself? It's quite simple to talk to someone else and tell them about who you are. But what are you saying about yourself to yourself? Often this is what hinders our ability to see ourselves through dark moments, through adverse situations. We look at the situation, we try and attack the situation. We've got every conversation about the situation, and we've got limited conversation about ourselves to ourselves.
Well, no.
What are you saying about yourself to yourself? Before we get started, we're going to do a little bit of an activity, guys. I'll give you two scenarios. The first one is you're excluded from an invitation. Now, I want you to think about this. You're around your family, your friends, your common people, the people that you love, the people that you're truly connected with. They're supposed to be with you to the end, no matter what. They've all invited each other amongst each other, and you've been excluded from the invitation. What is the conversation that you're having with yourself? After finding out your friends, even your partner, he decides to invite all your friends and all his friends, but you've been left out of this invitation. What conversation are you having to yourself? If you will, turn to your left or your right and share it with someone. It's not compulsory, but encouraged. Not compulsory, but encouraged. Share what conversation you would have about yourself to yourself, finding out that you've been excluded from invitation, from your confidence, from the people that you're supposed to be connected with. All right, does anyone want to share this? Again, encouraged, but not compulsory. Does anyone want to share a conversation that they would have to themselves?
I guess it would kind of depend on the context. If they were trying to like hide it, maybe I'd be thinking it's a surprise for me, because for me, like my husband would be talking to my parents about
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
I guess, yeah, it'd be a bit more.
Fair. Anybody else?
Probably like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not getting invited? What did I do wrong?
What's wrong with me? How do we know? What's wrong with me? Let's see what that for a little bit. Second scenario. Your achievement is not being celebrated. Once again, by your loved ones, your friends, your family, you finally graduated from QET, the University of the Real World. You go to your family and your friends and you let them know, hey, I've graduated. Yeah, well done. You don't quite get the reception that you thought you were going to get. What is the conversation you're going to have with yourself? Not just the studies, everything else you put your all into. You're victorious. You made it through the adversity. It was going to break you. You made it through the other side, and you must celebrate. Again, share with the person next to you, or behind you, or in front of you. What is the conversation that you have? Does anyone want to share their conversation? No compulsory. Got it? What's wrong with them? There you go. Jealous. Absolutely. Love that. Great conversation. Great conversation. But again, I can relate. What's wrong with them? Yeah.
Probably like, why don't they value this as much as I do?
Right. What I'm trying to get you to see here, guys, is often we skip the initiation of conversations yourself. And we start to try and deal with what's happening to us. And then you hang there. Story time. 3 chapters. First chapter, foundation. In the beginning. What is becoming of you? So this is my story. This is my foundation. There I am there. God help us. I don't know where I got those sunglasses from. There's me and my younger brother in Botswana, getting ready to come to Australia. So as you can see, we're suited up. There's me and my sister. There's myself again, my brother, and my younger sister, and it's his grandma. Foundation, the beginning. My story, I want to begin with 1992. 1992, a war broke out in my country of Malawi, which is southeast of Africa. At the time, the government who was in charge, my father decided it was only right that he stood up against him and highlighted what was wrong and what needs to be right. The government, feeling threatened, wanted off with his head. My dad feared for his safety, and he did what anyone else would do if you've got the government chasing you, and that is flee and look for safety. So he left Malawi, Started country hopping, looking for safety. Finding himself in Kenya, he was detained, arrested, and thrown into prison. Upon his release, he continued his journey for freedom, eventually finding himself in Australia. Well, straight away, when he arrived in Australia, he notified the Australian officials, hey, my family is back in Malawi. My wife and 2 kids are back there. That's my father. I need to get my wife and 2 kids. My boys are stuck in a war back there. And if we don't get them out of there, they're in trouble. There's my mother who was practicing nursing at the time. There's me and my brother. Our favorite outfits. See my latest pair of Jordans I'm wearing there. The Australian government acted quickly, and in 1993, we reunited with my father here in Australia. The same year, my sister was born. It's no secret what mum and dad got up to. 1993 to 1998, the first 5 years of my time in Australia, I learned 3 things. I found my passion. I got educated, and I had my first kiss. All of which I'm confident to say I've become an expert. My passion was in rugby league. I fell in love with the sport. Education, reading and writing in English, allowed me not only just to communicate to my fellow peers, but it allowed me to create a dream and imagine beyond my limitations. And obviously, my first kiss gave me confidence to walk around with my chest out. But what I want to continue on is my passion with rugby league. For me, rugby league is not a sport. It's more than that. Rugby league allowed me to sleep over someone's house for the first time. It allowed me to make friends. It allowed me to exercise myself in a manner that was freely expressive. There I am there. 12 years old. That's a representative jersey that I'm wearing. That's the carnival, being the fastest kid at the carnival. That's the medal I'm receiving. I fell in love with this sport because of what it was making of me, what I was becoming. I was being celebrated in every community that I was going in. I was making friends. Learning to speak English was such a beautiful journey for me. I went from just saying, hello, my name is Gideon, to confidently expressing my energy wherever I go. How's everyone doing? You good? What's happening? You want 4 tries today? I'll give you 4 tries. Life was good. I enjoyed rugby league. Here's a quick, a small clip of me scoring one of my 7 tries at Suncorp Stadium, which was Lane Park back then. Little did I know this day would change my life for the rest of it. This is my 6th try. She's not wrong. Little did I know there was a gentleman in that audience by the name of David Bell, who would walk down those stairs and introduce himself and offer me a full sporting scholarship to attend Ipswich Boys Round. There I am sitting to, these became 2 of my best friends, Andrew Gray, who now owns Gray Constructions, one of the fastest growing construction companies in Brisbane. Ultimately, he's going to take over Australia. There's Daniel Fullerton, Fullerton Electricals, again, another big business that's booming. There I am. And my time at Ipswich Grammar went by so fast. My love for rugby league just kept on growing. I was being exposed to new worlds, again, making more friends because of rugby. I felt validated as a person. I felt good. I felt great. I felt alive. But the 5 years went by so fast that I forgot about education. It was time to graduate. grades were below average. As I watched my friends go off and enter universities because of their OP scores, I watched my friends go and start apprenticeships, take over family businesses. There I was, waiting for any football club to call me up and give me an opportunity so I could play professionally, because it was the only thing that I paid attention to. No one came knocking. 2003, I was graduating from high school. No place to go to university, no job in sight. And the one thing that I thought I was going to be doing after high school, which was play professional rugby, was not happening. That was the first time I experienced what I thought was depression. My self-worth decreased. I started hanging out with some people that I shouldn't have been hanging out with. Started experimenting in drinking and drugs. It's me 17 years old. That watch on my wrist, chances are it's stolen. My self-worth was an all-time low. I didn't care about my health. I didn't care about the next person. Life just wasn't happening for me. But it wasn't until I saw one of my friends get locked up into juvenile, I started asking questions. How long until I joined him in that big house? At the same time, my brother was still in grade 12. How would that look if he's graduating high school and I'm locked up in juvenile? I've got to start setting examples. This is more than just about me. This is about the 4 members, my family, my father, my mother, my sister, my brother. That's all we got. So I knew I had to do something about my situation, or else I am going into the big house. So I looked back on rugby league and I said, what can I do with this? It's the only thing that I know how to do. How can I get something out of this? First things first, I had to increase my self-value. Start eating healthy. Started waking up, doing my push-ups, my sit-ups, my squats, going for runs every day. Increase my fitness. Get that back. Get my skill sets up. At the same time, I was door knocking at football clubs, asking them for an opportunity. Please give me an opportunity. Just watch me play, and perhaps you'll like what you see. No clubs, no. So we're full. We've got everybody we needed. We're full. So champ, start again next year. It was by luck. A club by the name of Ipswich Jets. Their winger had a season career-ending injury. So I got a phone call. Again, there's an opportunity that's opened up. Our winger is out for the season. You can have a try. I tried. I scored 5 tries. They offered me a contract. $50 contract. Which means I was getting $50 a game. But what I was telling my friends was I was on the big bucks. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But I didn't settle for that. I knew there was something more within me. I continued my push-ups, my sit-ups, my runs, my squats, my push-ups, my sit-ups, my runs, my squats, working on my skill set. Slowly by slowly, I noticed my net worth started to increase. That's me there. 2004. I started feeling good about myself. My choices were paying off. But what was more was there was conversation about me within the community. Look out for this guy. Watch out for this guy. I started scoring 4 or 5 tries a game. Conversations started to increase. I knew something was happening. December 2004, I received a phone call from the Brisbane Broncos. They offered me a 3-year contract. I was happy. I was validated. Finally, my hard work is paid off. I'm known, I'm recognized. We're here. I'm accepted. Now I've got 3 years to wait for the tap on the shoulder and become the superstar that I've always dreamed of being. I've only got 3 years. 3 years in this industry is like 2 weeks. If you don't make it happen, you should, could, would. That's how the game works. 3 years, I put in the hard work. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, runs. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, runs. I was doing all the extra work. There I am, giving a quick flex. Always in shape. News article compared me to the next Wonder Sailor. Wonder Sailor was a winger who played before me, who became a superstar. Third year of my contract, I finally got the tap on the shoulder. The head coach at the time, Wayne Bennett, called me into his office. He sat me down and said, "Gideon, you're a tremendous young man. Very energetic. Love your enthusiasm. Love everything you bring to this club. Unfortunately, the club's moving forward, not part of the plans." Push-ups, my sit-ups, my squats, my runs, my early morning wake-ups, my grinding, my confidence, my validation, all came crumbling down within 5 minutes of conversation with someone else. My self-worth dropped again. This time, we were really in the deep end. Drinking, drugs, partying till all hours. Sometimes it was going 4 or 5 days partying. Trying to bury it all. Feeling worthless. Within 5 minutes of conversation, everything that I've come to believe about myself was completely destroyed. I sat on the stage for a few months that year. Not a good look. I had to remember again, there's 4 people that we came to this country with. We don't have cousins, relatives, aunties, none of that. One of us has to make it for all of us. Luckily that year, I received another lifeline. Manly Sea Eagles, another National Rugby League team in Sydney, offered me a contract. They offered me a 1-year deal to prove my worth, to prove myself. So naturally, what do? Early rises, push-ups, sit-ups, squats. Let's get to work. I've done this before, let's do it again. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, we're on. Something happened to me that same year. Halfway through the season, I realized something. I'm getting sick and tired of having to want to please people, feeling validated. I don't want to do my hard work just to want to be validated and accepted. And what was more was I asked myself the question, do I love rugby league or am I in love with rugby league? I sat with it for some time and I realized the only reason I got this far with the sport was because I was celebrated in the beginning. So I chased that sense of validation, celebration this whole time. I loved the sport, but I just wasn't in love with it. It wasn't worth the heartaches and the pain, being told you're not good enough. It just wasn't worth it. So there I was in Sydney, wondering what's next after this. Eventually, I'm going to have to walk away from the sport before the sport walks away from me. While I was in Sydney, my brother was living in Sydney at the time. It just graduated from the National Institute of Dramatic Arts, known as NIDA, prestigious drama school throughout Australia and internationally. The likes of Mel Gibson went there, and some other names, I don't remember now. The same year my brother was graduating, I met up with him and I began the conversation. What am I becoming? What am I doing? What's next for me? Because football is falling through the cracks of my fingers. Once that's gone, who am I? My brother landed a play called Antigone that same year. I went and watched. There's my brother there. Fully in character. I was sitting in the back row, right in the center. Watched him go up and down the stage, doing his lines and delivering his performance. At the same time, I'm looking at the audience members who were just completely immersed in his performance. Something hit me that day. I said, that's it. I want to be an actor. I want to do what he's doing and make people feel what they're feeling just like him. So after the show, I caught up with my brother backstage and said, hey, bro, man, I want to be an actor. I want to do what you're doing. He said, yeah, you have to do the studies. Da, 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 da. I said, yeah, I know how to work. Let's get to work. I enrolled in New York Film Academy, graduated, hit the ground running. It was tough to study. It was really tough. And upon graduation, I was expecting the whole world to fall up my feet. Movie directors are supposed to call me up. Giddy, we've got the perfect role for you. We've waited all these years for you to do your graduation, and here it is. Never came. I was going from audition to audition, auditions. Sorry, please cut your hair. Sorry, you're not this, you're not that, you're not good enough, your voice. There it is again. Doors shutting one after the other. Why? I've been here before, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I became deep within the conversation about myself, to myself. I knew I was more than trying to fulfill people's expectations. What's happening in my mind? Why do I feel like I have to belong somewhere? Why do I feel like I have to fulfill expectations? There has to be more to me. So I stuck with the game of acting. I continued with the auditions, one after the other, left, right. If they deny me, we go on to the next. We're moving. 2016, I was offered a role in a play called Prize Fighter. This play went on and toured nationally. I got to see the country. We performed at all the major festivals, Sydney Festival, Melbourne Festival, Brisbane Festival. Got to see the country. It's amazing. But what was more amazing was that this play was nominated for many awards. One of which I was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actor. So obviously there has to be a lead if I'm the best supporting. Who am I supporting? Who knew that in the beginning, at some point when I hit the fork in the road, the answer was always there. We toured that year, in hotel rooms, etc., etc. The true life is fantastic. But this experience was enough for me to say, I am more. I am more than my circumstances. I will not be defined based on my circumstances. My circumstances are an opportunity for me to redevelop the conversation that I have about myself to myself. If one door shuts, it just means that's not my time. I have to spend my time somewhere else, develop myself in another way. That's what I learned after this talk, this experience. After the show, I managed to learn another national touring play called Animal Farm, written by George Orwell. So I became a thespian, a theatre actor. So one thing was for sure. I now believe that I am more. But for me, that's not enough. That's selfish. It's not just about me. Who else goes through what I go through? How many people out there have got so much potential that the first sign of trouble, the first time they're knocked back, that's it. That's a wrap. They'll never come back from it. So I decided I'm going to make it a passion of mine to create a movement, to create a brand that stands for those individuals. The ambition, the mantra is, you are more than what you have become. You are more than what happens to you. That which you become, you're not defined by. You're not just a nurse. You're not just a doctor. You're not just a mother. That's what you're doing. What you do, what you increase in the net value, your net worth, will determine what kind of nurse or doctor or mother or friend you are. You've got so much magic in you that's untapped. It's limitless. That's why it's okay for me to say that there's magic in you that's untapped. It's in me as well. So the mantra, you are more than what you have become, you are more than what happens to you, is a reminder that this is not it. Wherever you are in life, however it may be, seemingly impossible, maybe. That's not it. So how do I get my message out there? Through group challenges, workshops, boot camps, one-on-one coaching, online coaching. Sharing the same message. You are more. Reminding individuals you are more. You are more than your circumstances. Not to be defined. You forget my story. I ask that you remember these 3 chapters. Your foundation. You can start that today if you haven't got one. If you are not clear about your foundation, you can start that today and start building towards your desired outcome. Ultimately, your foundation helps you give purpose to what you commit to in life. If your desired outcome is to become the healthiest individual, obviously your foundation is getting to know what foods to eat to be healthy. If you want to become a doctor, obviously you've got to learn anatomy. Your foundation helps you shape your commitments in life. You don't build a house with brass. You can't. Ultimately, that's telling you what will happen when the storm hits. Foundation. Self-worth versus net worth. These 2 things do not oppose, even though I've written verses. The self-worth is how you uphold yourself. Get up in the morning, you brush your teeth. Please brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. Dress, you iron your clothes. How you uphold yourself. How much value you have of yourself. How much love you have for yourself. That's your self-worth. Your net worth is all the magic that you have within you. The music group will tell. They could have just buried that music and focused on studies. Because they're expressing their ability to perform in allows them to experience life a little bit differently. And that's what net worth does. It opens up many other doors. I could have just been a washed up, could have been football player. You would have never heard of me had I let my circumstances define me. Last but not least, conversation. This one, take it home with you, please.